trees, your yellow leaves move me. Dancing moves your painted red shakes the room. When I get there, I'll let my feet roll. When I get there, I'll break in your arms, I'll lose control. When I get there, I'll know the answer. Let me know when I get closer. Winterland, you're my sailing ship. Guide me in when you head for your trip. Right out of this wicked black and into bright sand. Straight towards the warm sun and into his hands. When I get there, I'll let my feet roll. When I get there, I'll break in your arms, I'll lose control. When I get there, I'll know the end.
Hey everybody, happy Friday. This is Overpass Live. I'm Eric. I make apps. This is the weekly live stream where we just kind of hang out and talk about whatever we want to talk about. And since there's been nothing going on in the news, I don't know what we're going to talk about this week. Anyway, so it's been a lot of, God, what a week it's been. So we start off with, since the last time we talked last Friday, because I haven't done any other videos this week, another pathetic excuse for for me not getting any videos out. Just the live streams. A lot of times it's just the live streams lately. But since the last time we talked on Friday, we had Halloween, which was cool. We had on Saturday England announced the national lockdown, which started yesterday, so we're in lockdown again. We had that little, I think there's been an election or something like that. We've had, for me, from the development side, I've been doing a lot of playing around with Xamarin Forms 5, and Blazor framework, which we've been talking about a lot before on the channel. Right, my app revenue has been still just there. So it's one of those things. But and I've been doing just going from project to project, Xamarin and Flutter projects just almost exclusively. Let's see. So everybody, let's see who's here. We got Fist007. Yo, what's up, Eric? I've been missing the live stream for ages. Yeah, I've been doing them. Last week we did it like an hour earlier because the whole mix up with the time zone differences and everything like that. But we're back on schedule now. So yeah, it's always 5 o'clock UK time. Although, yeah, I've been thinking lately about changing it. Do you guys think we should go to a different time? Because then I know, like, well, I mean, I know that, okay, I had this time slot first, but like, you guys could watch App Masters too at the same time. I mean, man, I don't care. We can move it to a different time. But it's just one of those things. I just want it to be, wherever the most people could make it. For me, 5 o'clock on Fridays was always kind of the most convenient for me. But I could do it earlier or later, whatever, or do it a different day of the week. So this is one of the things I've been thinking about. The only reason I haven't is because I have such a long track record of doing it at the same time. I don't want to like lose everybody out by doing it at a different time. So anyway, but yeah, Fist007, like I said, I was, a couple weeks ago we talked about Blazor. You were saying, how Blazor is C# that runs in the browser, which I was saying that can't be true. But yeah, actually I do see it is not C# that runs in the browser, but it does get the WebAssembly and everything like that. So I've been having a look at that in the last few days because I have a project that, again, it was one that I'll try to get another developer to work on it. And it was, and then it got to the point where it just got so late. It wasn't like I couldn't find a developer. I think getting an Angular developer would have been a lot easier, but in the end it was me. It was Angular with a Firebase backend, and my Angular 8 is just not very strong. So having a look at Blazor, although it's too late for this project, I kind of like the idea of having C# as being the Xamarin and the admin site using Firebase hosting, all that stuff. So I've been playing around with that this week. So how you doing? I'm doing good. Not too bad. Billy, yo, what's up? What's up, Billy? Things are going well. Things are going really well here. Except for, the lockdown and the darkness and the despair. to go well. Mr. Bean says, "Hey, sir. Hey, how's it going, Mr. Bean?" Says Bhupinder. Hey, guys. How can I know if my app will be successful or not in the Play Store? Mr. Bean, you like if we knew that, then it would just be like, people. I've had people say to me in the past, why don't you just do successful apps? Like, hey, you know how they have that one really successful app, right? Why don't you just make all of them like that? And it's like, well, because you never know what's going to take off, that's the same with any business. Anything that you put out there, there's no guarantee of success. I don't care who says it. I'm sure you can find somebody who will sell you a book or a course or a consultancy to say that, yeah, they could tell you whether or not your idea will work, but you never know what's going to resonate with people. But I do know that if you make something that's derivative of everything else, like a clone, like we had a lot of the app reskinning early on, that it could be it's going to be a lot more difficult because you're in competition with too many people already. Bhupinder, yeah, we're ready. Hit the like button. Thanks, Bhupinder. I appreciate that. And Mr. Bean, I appreciate that too. Let's see. And Mr. Bean, what is your app name? I mean, I saw in here that you want to have a look at it. But sometimes when you paste in the, if you try to paste in a URL, it doesn't go through on YouTube. Bhupinder says, I'm currently having 6 to 7 apps successfully running. Hey, fantastic. I'm earning monthly $4,000. That's really cool. It's nice to hear some success stories. Yeah, because there's quite a few people out there who are doing it. I used to be one of them. I mean, I'm not gonna lie about it. My apps have been when my big app was removed earlier this year, and it just kept getting removed and removed and removed, and in the end, I just sort of gave up. I wallowed in my misery, but there's so many copycats out there. In fact, there's so many copycats of my app out there. I still get Google alert notifications when it gets mentioned, and it says EarSpy was mentioned on this top 10 listening apps, right? And it was one of the copycats called EarSpy. It was like one of the, and it was just like, I could feel the stress go up my back every time I do it. It kind of, but I'm trying to be calm. I'm trying to be zen. And virtual hug. Thanks for appreciate that. So please review. Mr. Bean, if you tell me what the one is. I posted my dev account, video apps creation. Okay, let's have a look. Because video apps creation, we'll have a look and see if we can find that developer account here. But I'm not sure whether or not. Oh, you guys can hear me, right? I've just been talking for ages. There have been times where I've been talking and then I don't even look to the bottom to find out whether or not my microphone works. Like an idiot, we're cool. So what are we looking for? We're looking for virtual apps. Virtual apps creation. And I know there's a way to do it where I look for the publisher, but video apps creation. Yeah, that's going to be a very popular. Okay, so we got Mr. Bean. Is this it? So Mr. Bean, is this it? You have to, in terms of we would need to see what we actually wanted to have a look at. But cat fake video call prank. Cat. Nice application. You got 2 reviews. 5,000 plus installs. Well, that doesn't look too. I mean, whether or not it would work, I don't know. But obviously, it seems to be doing something. But yeah, let me know specifically what you want to have a look at here. Let's see. Yeah, it's not showing. Let's see. Jose Chocobar says is not in the Play Store. It's a video in LinkedIn, a chat bot. Sorry, Jose, did I miss something here? Did you say something else earlier? Package name is, dev account is. I think we gotta look at it, Mr. Bean, but let me know what we want to do it. Fist says Blazor is bliss. I think I might become. Yeah, I think. See, the thing is, I don't want to get into the whole Azure backend thing. I still like Firebase. I really like working with Firebase and Cloud Functions and everything like that. But I have done recently. I've done a project where we have Xamarin as the backend. Sorry, we have Xamarin as a front end, Xamarin application. And I was going to do it in Flutter, but for some reason I was having some trouble early on. I just went with what I knew and using Firebase as the back end. And it's one of those things where you're going from, like, you got Google and Microsoft together, so you don't have that tight-knit thing like you would like a lot of the Xamarin stuff. Finding like a way to interact with the Azure backend is, I mean, it's easy. But Firebase, I mean, there's still stuff out there, and you're having everything where you have Firebase authentication, Firebase rules with Firestore, and Firebase rules with Firestore, and just being able to, like, a user can only do his own account and everything like that. I find that really, really has been really fun to work on. And you know, I mean, Xamarin's okay. I mean, and this week I've been playing around with Xamarin 5 and then looking around a little bit at Blazor, which again, Angular. I loved Angular 1. And I know Angular 1 wasn't as efficient, it wasn't as fast, but I really had trouble getting anything from 2 and onward. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big TypeScript fan. And if I'm going to do something that transpiles into another, from whatever into JavaScript, then, there's other languages that could be used. But I might look into that. But it's still very, very early on. Bhupinder says, Eric, or Trump, or Joe Biden. I choose Eric. Video apps creation, so we had a look at those apps, but let's have a look again though, Mr. Bean, because I appreciate you coming on here. So I think it's a video cat video call prank. I mean, you're using all the keywords, but it seems like they're all just disjointed keywords. Funny man call me video call prank. I think it's just it's like, what does it do? Let's see. The app is totally free and I'll use it only for fun. Funny fake video call app is free app, no login. So you're basically saying the same thing there twice. No login for call for connecting. Then this app makes. I think you need, Mr. Bean. I think you should get somebody to rewrite the description, just because, Mr. Funny Vic, because even like I'm looking at this, and I know you've got 500 plus installs, but I can't tell what it does. Is it just something that looks like you're making a call, or you've got pretty much the same screenshot here and the same text on here each and every single time. So I mean, and you got things that are very much kind of the same type of stuff. So what does it do? Like, does the phone surprise your kids? So yeah, see, this one's a little bit better written, but download fake sound video call app, open and select time to get a call, close the app, and you can also turn off the screen, wait for the, okay, I see. So it gives you like a notification to say that it's been ringing. Simulate fake calls on an phone. Okay, I see. I think I mean, you got the same thing. If you thought having one application where you can have stuff that you can unlock, I mean, while you're setting it up, because I'm wondering whether or not, yeah, I think for me, again, I always say that you need to put keywords in the title and everything like that, which I think is true. But like this kind of just, I don't know. What do the rest of you guys think? I'm building a personal project with it, and it's a charm. That's Blazor. Morandir, hey, how's it going? Ravi Sharma's here. Hey Eric, I made 3 times the money last month from AdMob. AdMob? Is that AdMob? Do you think I should be worried something is wrong? No, if you're not doing anything like this is it, you're not doing anything wrong. Now, if they suspect anything is wrong, then they may shut you down by the algorithm. You'll have to appeal it. But if you're getting more traffic, then everything should be okay, right? If you see a spike in your traffic and a spike in your revenue, then that kind of tallies up. But if you all of a sudden you have a spike in revenue and not a spike in usage or impressions, then yeah, it probably would be. But yeah, I don't think you should worry so much about it. I mean, it's God, if you guys have ever gotten that where you finally making a decent revenue from AdMob and then they just disable the ads for some reason, and it just kind of like you just freak out. I remember once I took my kids to lunch, and no, we went to go see a movie. We went to go see a movie, and on the way back we stopped to get something to eat, and I checked my emails, and I'm like, you know. Yeah, I sitting there, I realized I was losing money. So I'd go home and I got to appeal this AdMob thing and I got to do all this stuff. But, the algorithm, I mean, the algorithm may shut it down if it suspects something suspicious, but that's why they have reviewers and appealers. So I think we hear so many stories. I think we hear so many stories about people who are getting their accounts suspended, either AdMob or Google Play, and the narrative is always, I never even got an email. They never even told me why. Which is, I don't know if that's due to the severity of the case. Because every time I've been suspended or I either had an my ad suspended or an app suspended or my account suspended, there was an email, right? And the email had everything on it. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like the idea. Sometimes it's gone to spam. So, if you notice something's up, you got to check your spam folder. But this is one of the things people who are setting up multiple accounts and they don't even, maybe they're not even getting the emails because they don't even have that account open. Like I don't have to worry about having 10 or 20 different Gmail accounts. I just have my one account. So let's see. But yeah, I don't think you should worry about it so much, Robbie. I think enjoy it. This is the perfect time of day. This time of day is perfect for me. Cool. Let's see. No more AdMob questions, please. I request everyone to watch old videos to get your answer. Thank you, Bhupinder. I think it's when it comes to AdMob, like a lot of my early videos, I got so much traffic that I got so many questions about AdMob, that I kind of got. It was like there was nothing more to say about it. And I've had people say, "Oh, your old videos, you just talk about AdMob all the time. Those are way better than your new videos." It's like, yeah, but I don't have anything new to say about it. Like, it's like, just, let's see. But I appreciate that. Phil Laisho, hey, Phil, how's it going? Have you considered setting up an OnlyFans page for yourself? What is an OnlyFans page? Is that one where you... Oh, no, I haven't. I mean, yeah, possibly. It's no, maybe I should look into that. Was that something you guys would be interested in? I mean, let's see. Erdem, hey Eric, how are you? Hey, how's it going, Erdem? How is your Twitter analytics? I reached 200,000 in the last 28 days. What's your Twitter strategy? Mike, I have no Twitter strategy. I used to do Twitter a lot, and for a while. So listen, I had a Twitter bot I wrote in Node.js once, and it was just, well, would you either use Buffer, and I wrote a Node.js script which would rebuffer everything. So I kind of had like my Twitter was doing really, really well, and Overpass was, I mean, I say it was doing well. It was producing a lot of content, so it was doing a lot of stuff. But a lot of the stuff was my VA puts out on Twitter, and for a while I was going through and just following a bunch of people, and they were following me back, and then they weren't following me, and I don't spend enough time on Twitter to even really be worried about it anymore. And I kind of felt like I was chasing some of the social media platforms. I feel like I'm chasing my tail with, right? And it's something I started thinking about a lot lately, where when I'm doing the Twitter, so when I do the YouTube stuff, I have fun. I love doing the YouTube stuff, especially if I could provide some sort of value and something that you guys haven't heard. And when I was doing it every day, like maybe it wasn't so valuable all the time, right? but when it's like the short form Twitter stuff, it's just I don't know. I just was having trouble. I felt like I was spending more time doing that than I was actually making things. Like you have to sit down and actually code. I actually have to make something. And so I would get like, I hired a full-time social media person, but everything was like, they needed, they weren't sure what to put. So then we're putting stuff out there, the same thing everybody else puts out there. That's the top 5 reasons such and such, or let's just find a bunch of other articles and post them. And it was like, even like if you look at our, okay, I shouldn't say this, but you look at our Instagram now, we have a lot of quote images that go in. But it's like, for what, like I was trying to keep up with the Instagram stories, and I did enjoy that, but it was just, it felt like, at some point you got to sit down and actually do the work, and I needed to do that. I needed to, if clients depending on me and stuff like that, and I had to. If I was going to focus anywhere, I think YouTube is where I do. Although I've been tempted with TikTok just because I've heard so much about it. Although when I did download the TikTok app and went on it, I thought, what the hell is this? Right? So I don't have a Twitter strategy, and I don't know if that's wrong of me or not. But let's see. Phil says, I think Bhupinder is trolling you. Really? You think so? Let's see. Blazor doesn't have anything to do with Azure, neither Xamarin. You consume JSON and voila. Yeah, I realize that. I'm just saying that. I know it has nothing to do with Azure, especially I think because what I'd like to do, like what I have with AngularJS is AngularJS. No, what I have with Angular is being able to build it, do an ng build and distribute it with Firebase hosting so that I can have my Firebase backend and my hosting and my authentication, all that kind of stuff in the same web session. So like that serverless architecture, which is what I really wanted to do it. And then I also have my Xamarin applications, which are connecting to the same Firestore, using the same Firestore authentication and logic, and using custom claims in order to make sure that people can only see what they're supposed to see, and that's kind of what I've been doing for the last few weeks. But it is kind of jarring when you go from one. So I'm going from the Angular stuff to the .NET stuff to the Node.js stuff, and just in the end, it's kind of I'd like to bring all that together. And I think Blazor might using C#, and that's what I was experimenting with a little bit this week, just whether or not I could have one solution file with my Firebase project, with my web application, my admin site, and my 3 Xamarin applications for Xamarin Forms, all in one solution. So it's just there, right? I don't want to have like all these different windows open. But whether or not I'll actually go through on that, I don't know. But let's see. Rishab says, is Flutter good for large projects or startup apps? I think it'll be good for either of them. I'm working on a Xamarin, Flutter application at the moment. It was one that I took over from another developer, and it is just, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that because client might be watching, but no. When I took it, I'm doing a lot of rewriting of it because when I took it over, there's like a lot of the widgets were all like a one giant widget tree. And then like the reusable parts weren't moved into different components or to different files or anything like that. And it was very memory heavy, like lots of again, this is one of those, I think I did a video about a few weeks ago where I should have jumped in earlier. I should have reviewed the code earlier. It's kind of my own fault. I mean, it's definitely my own fault. Although I'm never going to stop being upset with this guy. But like everything's in global scope. Everything's in, not in Flutter in general, just in this one example. But yeah, you could use it for either. And for most of the time, when you talk about large projects on a mobile application, I mean, how large do you plan on it being, right? There's only so much you could show on a screen itself. You can have lots of nested, screens, but like how many would you actually have, right? If somebody's gonna be on a mobile application, are you gonna have what, thousands of different interfaces, or are you gonna have like 8 or 20? But let's see. For me, I hate JS. TypeScript is okay. I do like JavaScript, but it does get, it is. Yeah, I do like JavaScript. If that's my I like C#, but I really like JavaScript and everything. So let's see. Chocobar says, I think the link was erased. I made a chatbot for WhatsApp. We integrated it with Dialogflow. Oh, nice. It's not on Play Store yet. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, nice. Okay, so this is something a couple of years ago I got really big into Dialogflow, and I did like one Google Assistant application. I mean, it's practically a Hello World app, right? But I just wanted to see how it worked, and I was really curious about, again, interfacing with not with WhatsApp, but I was looking like I wanted to have like one central Dialogflow chatbot that would be on our website and on Facebook Messenger, and all the other things that people would come to, and just have everything there, right? Of course, when it came time to actually doing that, I was trying to give it to somebody else to do, and a lot of that stuff, I mean, it's just, in the end, it never happened. So, because it would have been me who had to do it, and it's like, but I totally get you. This says my English bad. Oh, that's okay. I mean, you could get somebody to do it. You get somebody on Upwork or whatever to help you with writing some of that stuff. Erdem says, it has taken me 12 weeks to create a course for Udemy. Is that normal for this first time around? Ever estimated the process of online video tutorial creation? No, I haven't. And this is, I did have I did for a while. I was running with the idea of I wanted to create a course. Either I was going to put it on Teachable, although I was looking at Udemy also. And I don't know, I see so many people, like if I go on Udemy, there are so many junk courses on there that I don't know how much money they actually make. Let's have a look as an example. If I was going to go onto Udemy now, here's the cat app, and I was going to type in something like, let's do Flutter. So we got 575 Flutter courses on here. Of course, the top ones are going to be here, but I mean, there's obviously, like everything, I think there's a lot of people who are just going straight here and creating. Maybe they're not doing so bad. Let's go to page 27. I was trying to prove a point, and I may have failed. Let's see. Maybe it's worth doing. I think, yeah. I mean, if it were me, I have looked at this. I mean, so what I would start with would be like a mind map. Let me see if I show you guys. Let's see. Simple Mind. If I could show you, oh, I don't have it on here, but I did have like a book type of thing which I was thinking about doing as a course, and so I kind of mind mapped out the different modules and everything, like what would actually talk about, and sort of like the sub modules. But what came down to actually doing it, it was like, I was thinking whether or not that would be something that I actually want to do. But I would imagine it's taking me 12 weeks to create a course for Udemy. I would imagine it shouldn't take you that long. I mean, especially if you're talking about something you know really well. If you were able to break it down into different components, I mean, I would think it would take you like a week, like unless you were doing something, really, yeah. I mean, yeah, it depends. Like if I was gonna do one, like I suppose, okay, if I was gonna do a Udemy course on Xamarin, for example, right? I would be, the first one would be about how to install it. So that might be kind of like this. So it might be kind of a problem because then I have to uninstall it uninstall the IDE from my computer so I can demonstrate installing it, right? Maybe I might do a few different takes because I mess up at one point or I edit it wrong. And then but we've all seen, I mean, the courses are all the same. Like, first, why should you learn Xamarin, right? Let's compare Xamarin, module 2. Let's compare Xamarin to the other frameworks out there. Number 3, let's install Xamarin on Windows. Number 4, let's install Xamarin on Mac. Number 5, let's do a Hello World application. Number 6, and then it just goes into, like, it's so predictable. We see things again and again that you're thinking about how we'd be doing it. So Mr. B says, it looks like Mr. Bean calling you, but it's a prank. Oh, yeah, I kind of got that. Phil says, let's be honest, it would be better if all the fake video prank apps were removed from the Play Store. Too much garbage on the Play Store. I don't want to say anything, but yeah, I think there's back in the early days, it was the fart apps, and every time something says prank, it's I mean, so many things are just very, very similar, and an app has to. I mean, an app should do something, but and even then, if it was a prank application, like a prank call application, I would think that would be one application you could do, and how well it would do. I mean, okay, so there was this book that you may have read called App Empire by Chad Moretta. It was I read it back in like 2010 or whatever. It was talking about how you get rich with apps kind of thing. And it was like early on. And he talked about his big application was a fake fingerprint scan. Fool your friends. Like, whenever something ends fool your friends, it kind of like, it's like, how often are people actually fooled? Oh, and so, it was like that, scan the fingerprint and everything like that. And he says he made so much money from it, but I think he made a lot more from books and seminars and stuff than that. But yeah, I totally get it when you say that's what. No wonder people are getting turned off apps. Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I mean, so I did the Ear Spy one, and it was like, I mean, it was simple. Like, it was just simple, and I didn't add a whole lot to it. And it was just, and when I saw all the copycats, it was like Ear Spy prank or whatever, and and that kind of stuff, and everything just sort of flooded in there, and after a while, I started looking at my own app, thinking, mine doesn't even look that good anymore. Like, and I think there's something to be said for producing something of quality and putting it out there, like something that actually, helps people and does something. And for me, it's trying to think about what's something that I can make that would do that. I've got a lot of clients who have things that they want to put out there for their customers, for their stuff. But I think for me, so doing the Ear Spy one, which was kind of creepy, and but people seem to really like it, and then doing the language learning ones, which I thought were really useful, and they didn't really take off as much. But I think but there's so much that's just. Yeah, this clutters, and one of the things that again, I think having good design resources is important. Like, even if an app has terrible code, spaghetti code, it's like, it's far from reliable, but it's has a good design. Like, somebody's obviously put some care and effort into it. I mean, that's huge. I mean, just something, and sometimes that means hiring a designer. I mean, not like just getting somebody to put in some new designs, not some clip art that you find or something you draw yourself, unless you're really good at it. But when I look at the Play Store, I see a lot of junk on there, Bhupinder says, Mr. Bean, please work on ASO, app screenshots, and try to add an app video for your users to get an idea what your app is about. Yeah, I think a video would be good there. But make worthwhile apps that solve problems. Yeah, so we just said, thanks, appreciate it. Otherwise, find another occupation. No, I think it's good to put stuff out there, right? I think it's good because you'll get better at it, and it's like, you play the scales, right? You're creating an application and putting it out there, but yeah, I think it's all of those were derivative of each other, and yeah, I mean it's. Yeah, I get what you're saying there, Phil. I'm always in this awkward. If it seems like I hesitate on stuff, it's an awkward situation where like I really appreciate him tuning in and then asking your opinion because that's how you get better at things. And I don't want to be overly critical and damaging, but I kind of feel the same way. Like you to put something out there that's decent. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? And we can all get a bit, you're not spending enough time on this, you're not doing a good enough job on this, all this kind of stuff, which I think is destructive in a certain way because we all get better by producing. We put the reps in, but yeah, I think I think the prank kind of stuff is it's so done. But UK Baz says, "Sup, Eric? Sup, UK Baz? I hope you voted early. I hear country over the pond is struggling with mail. Haha. Imagine the state's going to be totally digital using a kiosk to designate locations open for big hacking. I don't think they will. I mean, it's all right, I'm going to tell you guys something that I probably shouldn't admit. I'm an American citizen. I am, I have the privilege to vote, but I didn't. I was like, I think I have to go down to the embassy. What do I have to do? And I was just had so much on that I didn't vote. But I'm from California. California is going to go one. It's very much a landslide towards Biden anyway. So, they say every vote counts, but I know I shouldn't say it. But so, but yeah, it's interesting to see what happens. I don't know if they've announced anybody yet. Thank you, Eric Pinder. I thought it was only for. I thought OnlyFans was for cam girls. Oh, is it? Bitcoin is rising up as hell, man. Is it? Yeah. Streams IPTV says that Patreon is an alternative to OnlyFans if you insist on keeping your clothes on. I do insist on keeping my clothes on. That's a deal breaker. Although, if you guys, I mean, everybody's got their price. I mean, you guys want to pony up? Start shedding off layers. God, that would be awful, wouldn't it? Play some music. I've got I don't know if you guys can see, I got the blue light on behind me. But yeah, it's cool. So Cord Funk, we're up, Cord Funk. What did I miss? You missed loads of stuff. We got into a fight. I started crying at one point. I think I'll jump on the startup thing. Haven't signed. Oh yeah, the startup you think about. Haven't signed a contract yet. They are using Flutter, which is great. Well, that's cool. Yeah, you know what? I was reading this book just today. It was a short book. The guy who writes the Millionaire Fastlane, DJ DeMarco, he's got this one like 44-page book on Kindle Unlimited, and basically it tells a story about it tells a story about somebody who's like in the 90s. And he decided not to take on this startup position because he went for the thing that paid more money, and in the end he went for the safe and secure thing with more money because he has a family and a job and everything. Whereas the person who took the risks was able to make a lot more and everything because they took the risks and the reward. And I thought about it because my advice has always been like, yeah, when somebody offers me equity, I'm always like, I'd rather go for the more money, and so I think it's probably good that you do take that risk. I mean, at least if they do take off, I think one of the things that bothers me about startups offering me equity is that there's so many talkers out there, and it's like if it's somebody who actually has a track record of being able to do this kind of stuff, and I actually believe that they could do it, then yeah, I might be interested. But it's a lot of the times it's just I've got this great idea, and that great idea is enough, but the idea never does anything. So, Robert T.A. Robert, how's it going? It says, for your own apps, would you prefer to have a small number of high-performing apps or a large number of apps that make a small amount? What's the best strategy? Definitely a small number to make a large amount, because you could focus more on ASO. Whenever they come out with new requirements, then you only have to update one application. All your users are in one place. All of your, everything is focused in one tight area. Because I've gone the other way. I've gone the way where it's like, I created at one point I had 100 apps. And so it's like taking the same framework and building different ones. And first of all, Apple broke, came up with 4.3 and started saying, you need to combine all these, even though it was like they were all meant for different markets. They all had different unique designs, different unique data inside them. They had, everything was like unique with each one, but it was a reskin of the same thing. So it was like taking that, my whole thing was I wanted to build a framework and put it out there, and then Apple started hitting me with 4.3 saying you need to combine all these into one application. And my whole thing was, why would somebody who is wanting to learn Swahili be interested in an app that said it teaches you Mandarin? Like, it was like the ASO side of things just fell apart, the whole marketing side of things. So so that was one of the problems I had. And so that's the one thing. One thing about doing many applications that make a small amount is it's going to be harder. It's going to be hard to maintain, and Apple wouldn't allow it. Google has a repetitive content policy, but I haven't heard of anybody really being hit by that, and I haven't been hit by it. So my stuff's still out there for the most part. Cord Funk, you've missed Eric telling a love story with Blazor on how he will never get touch anything else from now on. Let's not go overboard. It wasn't a love story. I was just saying it looks really good. In fact, I'm gonna pull back a little bit. I think you're reading into that. Let's see. Zia Katak, Java or Kotlin for beginners? Kotlin. I usually I shy away from that question because I've never really used Kotlin, but it seems like if you're gonna be starting, you might as well go there and do it. But never checked out Blazor, but C# is great. I do like using C#. Getting back to that, do you know what my favorite part of C#, which I completely forgot about, is using Link? Like, because it's been a few years since I used it before I started doing stuff in Xamarin again, and Link was kind of nice. So I could query the data once. Sorry, I could query the data from the data source once, but then keep querying the same collection. Whereas when I do it in JavaScript, I'm just constantly looping through things all the time. But let's see. Phil says there are no indie developers making serious coin with mobile apps anymore. That day has passed. Time to get a job or a contract or convince someone else you can build an app for them for big bucks. Yeah, that's issue. I do think there are some that do, but I think I think you're right. I think it's when you make, so if you make an app for a client or you get a job, the better you get at it, those skills that you acquire, you do get paid more, right? And if you do have that big idea that comes while you're working for somebody else, then you have those skills you can put into it. But and building up that portfolio. But I think there's so many people going into the app market that it's really hard, especially if you do something that's, if you build something that's taking you, like that there's a lot of, like we talk about the prank apps, something that, doesn't take you very much time. You just kind of threw it together, you checked it out there. It's, there's nothing unique to it. It doesn't solve any real world problems. It doesn't, it's just, and it's indistinguishable from all the competitors, then yeah, I totally get it. Whereas if you even if you did so, but if you spent the time and you say, I'm going to spend the next 6 months building like a really quality application where we have a whole back end infrastructure and everything. First of all, you have to think about how you're going to pay for that back end infrastructure if the app makes no money, and you're going to have to take that all that time and effort you put into it to build that thing. And whereas if you do something for a client, you only have to convince one person to give you the money. Whereas if you do your own application, you have to many people. I don't know. Robert says, Phil has an interesting report about low quality apps on the app stores. Do you think that crapware or malware on the app stores is ruining the reputations of apps in general? I don't think the reputation of apps is being ruined. I think it's the ads. I think that's more than anything else, right? Because there's lots of stuff out there. It's more the these stuff that come out here, and part of me, there's part of me that thinks because I've done videos where I say here's my AdMob revenue is I hope that's not, it doesn't make it look like it's like, hey, this is this easy way to make money. Just throw something together, put some ads on it, and you're going to get rich. right? Which I'm sure there's lots of people who sell that idea. But that's, it's that kind of stuff I think is probably ruining the App Store. But again, it's the nice thing about those algorithms is it's not just keyword driven, right? It's reviews and downloads, and if you don't get the right reviews, then nobody's going to download it, and nobody's going to find it because it's still way down at the bottom. Let's see. Rhonda says, nice search at Udemy. Most of them are unrelated. Yeah, actually, that's true. Nice search. Yeah, that was true. I did notice that. Like whenever you search something and like none of these are about Flutter. I went to the last pages. You're right. Mohit is here. Hey, what's up? Not much. Flutter versus React Native. Okay, who would win for Flutter versus React Native? I've answered this question once every week, but I still think Flutter's better. That's my opinion. You can disagree. Oh, by the way, this is more like I could give you my opinion, but maybe I don't. Maybe my machine for whatever reason can install React Native, so I think it sucks. Maybe I don't like JavaScript. So there's all these different things, and it's really what you can create in the end. It's the only thing that I think distinguishes languages from each other is the APK size, how performant they are, and what kind of plugins or whatever functionality you have. So if I had something where I wanted to use Bluetooth low energy, like I wanted to connect to a device with Bluetooth low energy, and I went with a certain framework that didn't have a plugin that did that, or didn't have any method of actually doing that, then obviously it's not as good as another one. So let's see. Or install a VM and do your course demos with it. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so you could do a virtual machine and then do your course demos. We're talking about like I'd have to uninstall everything. That's a really good idea, actually. Let's see. Nezzy says, did you ever get your Google App Store account reinstated? Yeah, I did. Just appeal. I did. Yeah, just appeal it, and it did come back. Ravi says, have you ever thought about writing a book? I thought about it all the time. I wanted to write a book when I was a kid. That was what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to be a writer because I'm very introverted, and I thought that was what I wanted to do. And then I kind of thought about, there was a time where I wrote I started writing like an ASO book, like, whatever. So I actually wrote quite a few chapters in it. Like, and then in the end, I just sort of trailed off. I mean, that's just a lack of discipline and too many other things going on. But no, I'd like to. I think it'd be cool to write a book one day. But I'm not in the process of doing one at the moment. UK Bass says, aren't prank apps like the next step after the Hello World app? I think they have value for the developer, learning to list the app, write description, and process overall. That's true. Just getting something out there on the App Store is it does. Like I said, I've worked with so many developers who are experts but don't know how to actually release an application. Like, there's just that's such an essential part. It's almost worth like creating a Hello World app and then putting it onto the App Store, even if you just did test flight, just to see what the process is like, rather than wait till the end and realize that your app is, the APK size is too bad, or the IPA size is too big, or the APK size is too big, or you don't have the right permissions, or you're whatever. So it's good sometimes just to get something out there. But yeah, I think that's true. And yeah, prank apps after the Hello World apps. I don't know, chat apps are in there too. Like, there's a lot of really good chat apps, but that's the kind of thing where you're looking at stuff. What other kind of apps you always see? Yeah, but let's see. Fist Double Seven. Human beings are visually biased, so you can have the ugliest code ever. If your app looks good, you'll hit the jackpot. But you could have the most elegant code base if your app looks like crap. Yeah, that's true. I think that's one of the. Again, this is one of the things different. Like when so when I'm working with other developers on a contract, the code quality is obviously so very important because that's being judged among my peers, and having quality code is having quality elegant code makes it more maintainable going forward. God, there's nothing better than when somebody asks for a new feature and you've written not just some spaghetti code, but you've written a framework where you can just add a new field and have some sort of whatever dependency injection, or just have something where you just add the property to a model, and then or an object, and then it just automatically starts saving and doing everything that it does because you've done all the groundwork and the framework early on, and it's clean, manageable code. But yeah, I do think that it's so many applications are let down because they're done by brilliant developers, like really smart guys that don't think the design is important. And I've worked with many people like this in the past where I was kind of more like, hey, let's maybe make this a little bit more colorful, and they're like, no, then nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about it, or they don't. Let's give this a really cool name. That's one of the things that, like, when I work at contracts, I always want to give something a really cool name. Like, I don't always want to be like Blue Sky thinking it, and I know I drove them crazy because I'm like, let's call it whatever, Panorama or some stupid name. Let's call it Gemini, and they're like, no, we're gonna call it the subscription database application. I was like, come on, we get a chance to give it a really cool name, but it's like the lead IT guy he's a back end guy. He's a server guy. He's the most elegant. This code never ever fails, and I'm more like, yeah, but it doesn't look nice. Like the front end doesn't look nice. So yeah, we're very visual. Prank apps are bottom left on the learning scale. If voting were to bring something, I would have forbidden. It would have been forbidden for ages. No, I think voting is important. That's the one thing. That's the one thing that, regardless of how much money you earn, you have, right. I think that's like one of the things. Like this, and that's why all these big corporations and everything work so hard to influence us to think one way or another, because they could take everything else away from us, and based on whatever, but based on whatever privilege you have, whether it be monetary or social or whatever. But they can't take away someone's vote. Like, everybody gets one vote only, and they might try to manipulate people to get them to vote a certain way, or but I think that is one thing. Now the electrical college, yeah, that's what I call it. The electoral college. I mean, that's a bit weird, but it's yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you think about if we just go based on population, then some states would have a bigger say than other states and everything. But not to get political. Getting some all right pay as well, not fantastic, but okay, dude. Yeah, that sounds good. I think I'm coming around to your way of thinking. On that job. Fist 007 says, if a startup had money, they would never have given you equity. And for someone to give you equity means he doesn't believe in his project himself. I don't know if that's true, because for me, I think it depends. Like, if they're just gonna, like, what I hate is when somebody comes to me and they kind of see themselves as being the Steve Jobs. They see themselves as being the visionary. Go, okay, Eric, here's what I'm thinking today. And they're like, doing all this stuff. And if they want to be that, cool, but they have to pay me, right? If it's going to be something like where they do a chunk of work and I do a chunk of work and there's some equal and we're both putting the same sweat equity in, then yeah, then we could talk about that. But yeah, a lot of times it seems to be heavily weighted towards, oh, well, we can't market it until you actually build it. And it's like, that's not true, right? You got to do market research. You got to go out there and start doing. You got to start building up your profile. You got to start doing all that other stuff, right? If you're going to expect me to sit here and do the technical side of things, you need to be out there doing something else. But they're like, no, the idea will sell itself. And we, as app developers, if you put something on the app market, you know how flimsy that logic is. The idea doesn't sell itself. It just goes out there and nobody hears it. Nobody knows it even exists until somebody stands up and points it out. Gilliam's here. What's up, guys? Hope everybody is fine and safe. Keep building, guys. Yeah. I hope everybody. Yeah, thanks, Go Home. I hope you guys are all safe too. Not just Go Home. Appreciate that. Mega Man 2016 is here. What's up, Eric? What's up, Mega Man? I'm doing good. Flappy Circle says, hey, Eric. Hey, Flappy Circle. What's your app about? I wonder. Let's see. All my apps are crapware. Don't say that. I mean, I do have some. Do I have some? I think I do have some that probably could have used a bit more work. There's some, or like if Google removes them, or even like when they went from 32 to 64-bit requirement, I'm like, I can't be bothered with that one. So my first app was EarSpy. My second app was Time Goal, which was a countdown widget on the for Android. Didn't do very well at all. I did a meditation timer because I thought that seemed like it'd be simple, and it was just a timer, and I put a lot into the graphics and everything, but it just. That was one where I would consider that crapware. Like there were so many out there that did the same kind of thing, and it was like that learning curve type stuff. I've got a few like that, but I mean, try to do a good job with others. This is a ridiculous statement. There are plenty of indie devs that earn big bucks. They just have to do real work to rise above the fart and fake call apps. Nicely said. Elbow cough. What's that mean? Crapware funk apps. Flappy Circle, how can I get eCPM of more than $20 on AdMob for interstitial? I wish I knew. Like it's your eCPM is set by there's nothing you could do to raise that. You just have to make sure that you show enough ads that you actually do make some revenue, but not so many that you annoy your users, or you get them removed because you're not showing them at proper breakpoints. I totally agree. It all boils down to what you were able to create in the end. Hey Eric, can you say aluminum? Yeah, aluminum, not aluminium. It's aluminum. There's certain words that I will not like. I've been here for 22 years. Everybody says you still have that American accent because I was 25 when I moved out here, so it was like it was set in. But there's certain words, like I'd say go on holiday instead of go on vacation and stuff like that, where every time I say that, like my family back home, like my brothers and sister were like, oh, you're getting a bit of an English accent. I was like, I'm really not. But there's certain words where even when they repeat it back, when I go to Subway, because I'm classy. I go to Subway and they say, would you like tomatoes? I was like, yeah, I'll have the tomatoes. Like, I don't repeat it back the way they say it because that's a trick. Let's see. Music Gem says, I grabbed a brand new Kindle app, Kindle from Argos. Would you name any must-read book? Ooh, I have Kindle Unlimited, so okay, let's talk about crapware. Kindle Unlimited is full of crap books. So there's a few of them I read on there. I don't know. For me, it depends on what you like. I read a lot of business books. I read a lot of computer books too, but I find reading computer books on the Kindle, it's just not as good. I mean, it's the nice thing about having a proper book is that you can flip back. Oh, what was that bit again? Go flip back to that page or whatever. Is like as a reference resource once you've gone through it. It's not as a linear thing. Computer books are not really good as a front to back. Whereas and a lot of business books too. Like if it looks like it's gonna be more like a reference type of thing, I won't get it on the Kindle, but anything else I do. Some of my favorite business books are like the E-Myth Revisited, which I've read several times. God, there's a bunch. I'm trying to think. What did I just finish reading? Oh, I finished. Was it? I started reading this one's on meditation. I just read one about. God, what's his name? Hawkins. It was Letting Go. Letting Go by. God, I can't remember his name. Hawkins or something. But yeah, no, yeah, I use my Kindle a lot. I got the new one so I could read it in the bathtub. Do you regret not taking the Java book opportunity? No, I don't. I think at the time I thought, maybe I would sit there and write that. So yeah, a couple years ago, was it a year ago? It might be a year ago. I got contacted by, I think it was A-Press. Yeah, it was A-Press. And they said, writing a book for Java for Android 10. And I was considering it. And I thought, this would be really cool, like to be able to write a book. And then I thought, actually, this sounds like it would be no fun at all. It sounds like it would be, again, like we're talking about doing tutorials, it would be, I would have to do a whole bunch of research. The revenue, they wouldn't tell me how much I would be paid really very much, like what the royalties would be. I think it would be a bit smaller, and I thought it would help me like by my CV. And then the more I started thinking about it, I started thinking about, with a few exceptions, most of the computer books I don't really, once the programming books that I've read, I don't remember who those authors were, and I wouldn't be able to, like, if I met them and they told me what their name was, I wouldn't even know who they were. And there's some that do, like Krupp and Charles, the Code Complete by Petzold, right? Like those kind of things, which they do have a profound impact because they're more. But like, so in the end, no, I don't really regret it. I haven't even thought about it. That's how little I regret it. I don't sit there thinking, man, if I only just wrote that book. I just didn't have enough time to do it. Let's see. Joshua Bruce Bradford. Hey, Josh says, hey, Eric, have you thought about making a VPN app or a music streaming app like Spotify or Pandora? I haven't thought about it. I would imagine that creating the app would be easy, but all the because those are mostly data driven, right? I mean, it would be like, where would you get those? I think that the whole thing with those kind of applications, what makes them valuable is the content. And you'd have to like music record deals and everything like that, I guess, probably. If the app works and the design is awesome, the users doesn't care about the code. That's true. But yeah, once you have to make an update, you're going to care about the code. Eric, here's one of the plethora of differences between coders and developers. Developers know how to take a project to the very end. Coders can simply code. That's it. Okay. At least, so if the initial stages, we have developers who like good design, and there are developers that are using Vim. Yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah. So I talk a lot about junior developers and how they just drive me crazy sometimes. And I've got this project that I've taken over from a junior developer that just was like I think I did a video about it a few weeks ago. Right, and it just and it could be very difficult when someone just like, hey, it works. It works. Why should I structure it differently? It's working. I think you're just being ridiculous. Like, I see no reason why copying this one page 85 times just to change one little bit of text on it is I don't see what the problem is with that. And you're like, but there's also the other side of things where you, like, if you work with somebody who is just on the other far end, like we have to unit test everything. We have to make sure we do everything right, and we make sure that whatever. And they're just like, everything is, what if we get like 10,000 hits at the same time? You're like, that's a really good problem to have, but like, we also just need to get it done. We need to get out the door, right? We're gonna lose momentum if we don't produce something. We have to get something. It's that trade-off, that sometimes you do just have to, go. like, I'm sure you guys have all been in this situation where you're trying to do something, and then like 4 hours into it, you're like, I have no idea why this isn't working. And then you go for the hack, that kind of thing. Like I had this thing with dependency injection, but for some reason that's not working, and everything. So it's like, I'm just gonna, if, it's for like this nasty if statement in there. It was just like, you're like, okay, I'll change it. I'll fix this later, because the more elegant solution should have worked better. But so. Oh, Flappy Sticker, what are the best ad networks to achieve eCPM of more than $20 for interstitials through mediation in AdMob? I don't think I've ever had $20 for interstitials. Yeah, I'm afraid I'm not. And have you thought about making an app store where people can publish their app there and could charge or find a way to make money that way? I have thought about that. I mean, not like seriously. I mean, I thought, because there actually are a lot of alternative Android app stores, but when this is the thing, like when somebody buys a new phone, unless they're really one of us, like they're technically literate, they're not going to go looking for other app stores to install. They're going to just like, the only way I would know how to get people to go to find my new App Store application would be to find it from Google Play. So download a different app store so you could download these other apps, and then Google Play would have the power just to remove that. So, and you'd also have to make sure that they go through and allow the third party applications to be downloaded and everything. But and they said, do you ever make a mobile game? I have. Nothing really. I mean, I've done, for clients, I've done a few. One was like a space shooter type thing. I've done lots of quiz games. I don't know if you'd count those. But yeah. Is it pizza time already? It is nearly pizza time. Yes. Oh my goodness. So, speaking of Kindle, I forgot to cancel my subscription. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Nezzy, they will they'll keep taking that £7.99 out, or however much it is where you are. I only read Kindle books that are not available on Kindle Unlimited. I think that's good. Okay, so this is like when I said about crapware. Like, a lot of the books on Kindle Unlimited are like, you read them, or you look at the description, they're like 22 pages. Like, people are putting out Kindle books, ebooks. I think a few years ago they were, maybe not so much anymore. Like they put out crapware. They're just like, I'll just throw something out there, and then hopefully people will just, So there's no like, so like asked when Ravi asked earlier whether or not I would write a book. I would, but it would be something that it would be like, I would want to spend some time on it. It wouldn't be something like, I'll get it out there because it might make me some money. It'd be like, no, what can I really put into this thing? And that's the same with anything. If you put some heart and soul into it and try to build something you actually think that you would enjoy reading and that you would enjoy downloading or you would enjoy watching, then that makes all the difference. Tamil, City Central, hey, how's that? Bro, what's up, bro? Tell me the best way to market an app at a low cost. I don't know the best way. I mean, you should try different ways. I mean, so there's lots of different, you have social media, so you have lots of the different groups, and everybody's out there. They're online, they're looking around in different places, and what you need to do is get your app or your ad in front of them. And advertising is a good way to do it, because you can just pay somebody and they'll make sure it goes out everywhere. Otherwise, you can just go through and try to spam some of these groups or do something like that, but you're going to get shut down. But if you get people to look at it, that's really what it is. Whether it's hanging up signs in your town, which, again, that's a stupid idea. I've had somebody say that to me once. Again, it was the kind of thing, an equity thing, says, no, I know loads of people, this app will be good. And I was like, dude, you don't know millions of people probably that you can download your app, right? But it's just getting it in front of as many people as possible. And if you don't have a budget, it's going to be harder to do. And the truth is, even if you do have a budget and you are able to advertise and get that ad in front of people, if the ad sucks, it's not going to work. And if people, we kind of go blind to ads. We kind of look past them. The deadline will kill the fun, and if you want to write a book for it to be a fun experience, you would be working on it when you feel like it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like anything. If you don't give yourself a deadline, you won't ever get it done. But yeah, when it came to writing, when the opportunity to write the Android book, it was like thinking, you know, it sounded like it'd be like writing an essay for school, like something that you just like, oh, you know, I have to do it and I have to give it to them and they're gonna say, oh, change this, change this, change this, rather than you know, be able to do it. Like I would love to do like a if I was gonna do an app development book, I'd want to have some sort of narrative around it. I've read one book, it was a business book where he kind of had this narrative around it, not like every chapter started like with a little story and everything, and I thought that was kind of cool, but. Not hating on people who like Vim. Anyone should use whatever makes you most productive. Yeah, but there is a macho thing with Vim. Like there's a macho thing with some of these things. Right? There's I say macho in the loosest sense because like somebody who uses Vim is like not the kind of guy who's like, dude, if he kicks sand in your face, I don't know what you do, right? But it's like, you know, but that's like the alpha coder, like, you know. And I'm kind of the same. I do not like when people try to get me to use a GUI for Git. Like whatever, some pear tree, whatever. I'm like, no, I use a command line for Git because I'm an alpha. But there's other things where, like, I just, you know, there's something satisfying about using a command line sometimes because you feel like, God, I look so awesome when I open up the command line. And we used to joke about that at one of the jobs I had. We'd have to go do some, like, check out somebody's desk. Right, or like the app's not working, or the web app. You should go check. You know, you're on the phone trying to figure it out. So I'm just come down there. Let me come to your desk and have a look. You go down there, and if you just open up like the command terminal, like even just, you know, CMD, and then you just type like dir, like you're not even doing anything, right? But they're just thinking like, wow, this guy's really smart, because they don't know. Like it's like magic. For the record, I really ashamed of my early code. I can't look to my former employer in the eyes because of, yeah, I remember once going back for drinks. Like there's one application which it was one application that I worked on. It was a desktop application long time ago. It was like the first thing I ever did that was an actual like release to the users. And I left this investment bank and I went back for drinks like 2 years later, and they're still using it. And the developer who was working on it, he had a very low opinion of me. It was like, you know, I was like even kind of, yeah, I'm sorry about it. I was like really new. Like he's like, so yeah, I think we all have those. How long it takes to make the best app without coding knowledge? Is there any platforms? There are platforms out there you can do it without any coding knowledge, but I mean, talk about what the best app. I mean, what would that be? You have to write code with the right level of abstraction. If you're working with the business code, there should be a socket connection. There should not be a socket connection all of a sudden in the code. That's true, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things. That's why I talk about a hack. Like you're going, okay, I have my model classes over here. I have my data access classes here, and ideally I'll have some like interfaces there so I can mock them up and not have to go back to the back end each and every time. And then I have my GUI over here, and you get to the point where you're like, yeah, everything's good and organized. And every so often you get to that point where you're like, I don't know why this isn't working. I'm just going to put this in the model class, even though it shouldn't go there. I'm just going to put this in the data access, or I'm just going to put this over, in the GUI code. But yeah, yeah. Let's see. I do it all the time, but not. Sometimes a shortcut is worth to test out some things. Yeah. Writing discardable code is key. Oh, discardable? Is that describable? Code you're getting discardable. Yeah, that's true. Discardable. Billy says, thanks for live stream. You're welcome. I use command line for Git, except in Visual Studio, where it's well integrated in the UI. That's true. I do use it in in JetBrains Writer, but I start out with the command line. Let's see, and Tamil says, to get one lakh installs, how much would it cost in dollars? I don't know what a lakh is. I know it sounds like it. I should. The excuse for leaving a nasty code base. Yeah, we didn't have enough time to brush up the code. Dude, that's always the case, right? Every developer, I don't care who you are, even if it's you, right? Like, you know, like if anybody says anything, say, well, we had tight deadlines, right? Everybody has deadlines. But let's see. Ron Deere says, and we're going to wrap it up after this question. Ron Deere says, I was testing my ad unit ID and got a completely Russian ad. Is this normal to get a foreign language ad? I don't know. I've never have. That's weird. Maybe it could be that they're advertising their ads in, like, they haven't set up their ads right. Whoever's put that ad in. So anyway, hey everybody, thanks for joining the live stream this week. I am starving. I'm not gonna get pizza tonight. I'm gonna make myself something decent. But it sounds tempting. I hope you guys have a great week. Thanks for joining the live stream. Thanks for everyone who thumbs upped. And I hope you guys have a great weekend and a great week ahead. We'll do this live stream again next week. Talk to you guys later. Bye.